Now, here's an interesting one for you. Some Illinois Medicaid patients' assets may be at risk. Like your house, things like that. Little known provision in health insurance expansion allows state to recoup certain medical costs after death, including via liens. It shows a little picture of a guy, Richard Finkelstein, 62, on the Lakeview neighborhood, intended to purchase a new private insurance policy via the Illinois Health Insurance Exchange. Isn't that is this like the Obamacare exchange? Because the states have them. Is that what we're talking about here? I believe it is. With the help of a government subsidy. But his low annual income sent him to Medicaid. He had known about the asset recovery provision before signing up. Or had he known, he said he would have purchased a private plan instead with no strings attached. Too late. You signed up. Any money we got to recoup. We're going to get it out of you when you die. Whether your wife or anyone lives in the house or not, it becomes ours. More than 200,000 low-income Illinoisans have applied for new coverage under Medicaid, the state federal health insurance that was expanded in Illinois and several other states as part of the Obamacare Affordable Care Act. But for certain members of that group, the new coverage could come with strings attached. A little-known wrinkle in the federal health insurance expansion could put at risk the house and other assets of those ages 55 to 64 should they require substantial and expensive health care treatments, which is not uncommon. You might need something, for God's sakes. The issue arises because of a provision in the long-standing laws governing Medicaid that compels states to recoup certain medical costs after a person dies, either via liens placed on an individual's home or claims on their assets. Before implementation of the health care law, colloquially known as Obamacare, only pregnant women, children, and those with disabilities qualified for medical care. Further, the asset clawback provision, so to speak, typically was applied only to people with disabilities older than 55 or those in long-term care like in nursing homes or other assisted living facilities, which I've heard of. And in Tennessee, when I moved to Tennessee, the neighbors that I had, nice people, it was them over here, me in the middle, and then over here was where their parents used to live, who have since died a few years ago. Now, these particular people were definitely older. I'm going to say they were, to me, looked like they could have been 70 years old. I'm guessing. So naturally, his parents lived the ripe old age and ended up dying. But they told me, because I'm like, whose house? Looks like it's in need of repair. No one's living there, obviously. But is that, what's up with that house? Oh, that was our parents. And then once I, got to know them a little bit, they kind of told me the story, and that their parents, as they got quite old, had to live in one of those assisted living facilities or whatever. And they went there. And when they died, the state of Tennessee put a lien on the house and land, which it was only a couple acres, I think, and then the house. And sat there rotting. State wasn't doing anything with it. It needed bad repair. They said, well, if you want the house back to the kids, because the kids, which was my neighbor, who said they contacted the state, he told me this, and said, look, you guys haven't been doing anything with this house for years now. Can we, purchase it back from you? Or, well, the amount of money we need back is $150,000 because that's what we've got in care for your parents that have now, are deceased. So we need to get the $150,000 back. Now, keep in mind, the house that I was in, I could have bought for $50,000 with 10 or 10 and a half acres of land on it. And the state is asking $150,000 because that's what they had into these parents, the assisted living home, and that's what they need to get back. Well, the bottom line is, okay, you can want $150,000 all day long, and you can auction the house off, in the other hand, so to speak, and see which one gets you the least amount of money. And it's going to be auctioning it off, and you ain't going to have a choice because that's the only choice. So they went back and forth with the state. Right before we left, I saw him over there with the tractor and digging up the land and doing stuff. I'm like, hey, did you get the house? Did the state work? Yeah, they work with us. We came to an agreement and we got the house back. Now, he didn't tell me what the agreement was, and I wasn't going to ask. But clearly, it was a significant, really significant amount lower. So that's apparently something that's been in place. If you don't have the money to send your parents into an old folks home, the state does it, but their house, the parents' house, they're going to get their assets. But now that Obamacare has come along, they've expanded that to include other scenarios where they can come get your house and or assets. So, sure, you get old, kids can't take care of you, it's like bad, okay, we got to put them in the old folks home. And you think, well, aren't you leaving me the house, and aren't you? Yeah, son, of course. Okay, good. Next thing you know, you get a lien letter. The state has filed a lien through the new Obamacare law section, blah, blah, blah. Your parent needed some kind of surgery at 70 years old. They couldn't afford it because they were living on Social Security, which has been diminishing, and it doesn't increase per year like it should, the real amount of inflation. So we had to help them out as the government, and now we get their house that they left to you. So we're putting a lien on the house, which may mean possibly that you still get the house. It's still paid off. You don't have to pay anything for it, but you will never, ever, ever be able to sell the house until the lien is taken care of. And the lien that they put on the house will depend on how much money they had to pay for your parent or whatever to get them care. Now, the other side of the coin is this. And some people may not like this, but I got to go here. Even myself, I don't think I'm going to like what I'm about to say, but I'm Realist News. Got to keep it real. Why is the state ever in a position, or the government, period, to have to pay for your parent to go to an old folks home in the first place? That's the question I have. And you say, oh, well, they can sign up for Medicaid, and it's not. That's true. But again, Medicaid is for people who can't afford things, insurance. So the state or the government pays for it. And the problem is, where is that income coming from to help pay for all these things? And on top of it, which is even worse, the fraudulent bills to Medicaid, the fake nonsense, the absurd bills that doctors and facilities, whatever, send in as, oh, we need to recoup this to Medicaid. Put on the, what's your Medicaid account number? Put it on there. And it's something that could have been a few $100s, and they've found a way. Well, you need another MRI, okay? You're going to need probably a third MRI after the first two. We really need to look at that foot again. We need to double check. We're going to have to do some blood work on you. Right? This is your 90-year-old grandmother or grandfather, whatever, father, mother, who don't have much time to live, and the facility they're in is just raking it in. Got to do tests and procedures and MRIs and this and that. Knock, knock, excuse me. They're going to die any time now. We've accepted this. We all know this. The family understands. We don't want you giving a 90-year-old open heart surgery or some kind of major operation. Like, we understand. We just want them at the assisted living facility. Well, we got to do these tests. So then all of a sudden, just bill Medicaid, bill Medicaid, bill Medicaid. Because they're getting their money from the government. So the facilities, they're making out like a bandit. And then who gets stuck paying the bill? Well, the person technically who should have, which is the parent that was in there. The old folk, the 90-year-old, etc., that was in there. They are the ones who should be paying it, but they don't have the money in the first place, which is why they went to Medicaid. So the state does have to find out, well, how can we recoup some costs here? You had a house, give us the house. And I hate to say it, but that, you have a right to get your money back from wherever you gave it to, and it's not really like you wanted to, but the government says, well, this is America, we've got to help people, so we're helping, but we don't just help for free all the time like this. And then there's the third side of this coin. Wait a minute. How many billions of dollars are we giving away every month to other nations? Some which we would consider terrorist nations. Pakistan, Israel, now even Iraq, and many, many, many others. So then you weigh that in and say, okay, how many billions is that per month? Okay. Now can we look at Medicaid or these particular types of things where you have to go back and recoup those assets, those in particular, how much is that costing us per month? And I think you might find that it doesn't even come close to the cost of us just giving away billions on a monthly basis, never ever asking for it back to all these countries as payoff money is what that is. I don't think it'll be even close. Therefore, I got to do a complete reversal. Realist new style. All these things should be paid for free if we've got that kind of money floating around to just give to other nations. Why would we make our own citizens, since this country is of the people, for the people, it is us citizens, we don't want to charge ourselves for free health care that we need in our greatest time of need when we don't have the money, while simultaneously giving out billions to other countries. Because if you took that back in, you'll find you have plenty of money to pay for these things. Therefore, you don't need to take someone's house, and you don't need to recoup the cost. You can simply say, hey, this is America. This is why we are what we are, known as America. We are that deal. This is how we go. That's how we roll in America. That's why everyone wants to come here. But we're going into third world status. We're not going back into awesome first world, the best peak of our time. No. Because this whole conversation I just had with you is the type of conversation someone has of a dying country. Once prosperous, once great empire, crumbling. Got to tax this, got to charge a fee for that. You don't go get health care, we're going to charge you a fee. No, it's not a tax, Supreme Court, it is a tax. Which means it had to start in the House, not the Senate. And that particular bill started in the Senate and was passed by the House backwards. And since it's a revenue-generating bill, according to the Constitution, it must originate in the House. Anything with revenue has to come from the House first. And since the Supreme Court acknowledged it is a tax, that means it is a revenue-generating bill, which means the whole damn thing technically is null and void. So I can't wait to see where that fellow's lawsuit goes who did that. Anyways, I got to get ready for work, up a little bit early. My foot is bothering me. It swelled up. I don't know if it is going to be fixed by the surgery I had done. Speaking of all this. And no matter how many times different doctors I saw in the process, telling them, what is it that attaches to your pinky toe and makes you wiggle? Is that like the tendon or whatever, that little stringy thing? Whatever that is what I tell them. I think it snapped off my toe when I had this original injury. I was running on a treadmill, and then the next day walking into work, I just took a step, and then boom, instant pain right back there. Ouch! I was limping for a few days, and it just from then on, it just come and go, hurt, not hurt, and I got tired of it. Okay, time to get some surgery. And as I've been through the process of taking MRIs and take a X-ray of the foot, X-ray showed nothing, MRI showed a little thing down there. I kept explaining. I think what has happened is that has snapped off and is now, there's no tension anymore from the back part of your heel to the toe or whatever. Like a rubber band, it just cut, and I was dangling in between my skin of my foot. And every time I take a step, boom, a regular step without shoe inserts in, regular shoes on, your foot goes like this, and when you go like that and put the pressure up here, it hurts. So I think I'm stepping on that tendon or whatever is there that's no longer attached. It's now flopped down at the bottom of my foot, so whenever I step on it, I'm just stepping on the tendon. That's what I think. No, it's not that. It's probably a foot neuroma. What's a foot neuroma? Well, foot neuroma is when you have something aggravating your nerve, and it swells up and just stays like that. It doesn't want to come back down. So every little movement aggravates it and bothers you. It hurts. And we did see a little thing on the MRI. It could be that. Okay. So they cut into the foot. They cut it out. First week, I had no pain. Actually, I was like, man, I don't feel anything down there, actually. It feels kind of good. And then all of a sudden, a week later, which was last week, and this week, my foot's swelling up in that area. If this is my toe, down here, from this toe to this area is sore. And I had to actually put my shoe insert, the one I normally used to wear, into this little boot thing that they give you, a little sandal-looking boot thing, because it was hurting so bad. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. If that was fixed, my foot is starting to hurt like it used to when I didn't have a foot insert in there, up in this area. And when I put the insert in, it shifted it back down here. That's where they cut out the nerve area. So now that I'm putting now that I don't have the shoe insert, foot insert, whatever, that pain is coming back like it used to. Not a good sign of a surgery that just took place. So I had to put the shoe insert back in, which helped it subside. But now my foot is still a little swollen. So I'm leaving the foot insert in and hoping, smoking some hopium, by the way, on this one. Smoking a lot of hopium. I'm hoping that it goes down, the swelling, and everything settles, and it got solved. But no doctor wanted to hear my theory or what I thought was wrong with me based off of what I was feeling. They wanted to tell me what was wrong with me, do the surgery, typical thing, here you go. And when I went back, the doctor says, well, I told her, look, it feels worse. Oh, well, yeah, but your foot, I can see your foot still swelling up. So you got to let the swelling come down first, and, we'll take a look at it. But it's typical. Okay. Just got a feeling that it may not be fixed. So it's amazing when doctors think they know everything, don't want to hear anything you have to say, even though it's your body, and think they know best on everything. Sometimes that's the case, but a lot of times you'll find that they don't. And they just go back to their normal thing. Oh, here's some medication. Here's some pain medication. Just don't worry about it. Here's this medication. Don't worry about it. I'm not medicating. I'll tell you that right now. But I may have to go back for some other surgery. Can you cut out the tendon? I don't even know. I got to see where this goes. But this is besides the point. Just talking about healthcare. Speaking of which, there you go. Anyways, take care.